Good morning, everyone. And I love my life. I love what I'm doing. Right now, Avini, this is the right place at the right time. And just listening to this, I'm hoping you're realizing just how special this opportunity is. If you think of all the things that you could do, and I think we all just accept the reality of one of the things of why we're here is we work. And actually, when you think about it, other than your name, when you're meeting somebody, that comes up, I'm Dave or whatever. The next question is, what do you do? And it could be, I work at Joe's Machine Shop. How long have you been there? Too long? Or whatever it is. So much of how we define ourselves is what we do. And I just think, I've always thought in my mind of all the myriad of opportunities, the things that you could be doing. And someone once said, you love your job enough that you would give your life for it. And I think, I really love my job, but I do that. But he brings up this idea that one day at a time, pretty soon you'll be near the end of your life, and a lot of that lifetime was working, probably about 1/3 of the hours, maybe more. And especially if you add in commute and all of the other things too. And so effectively, all of us are giving our life for our job or our work. And my goodness, that trade should be a good one. You don't want to hit the end of your life. I've heard it said, people laying on their deathbed thinking, gee, I wish I would have spent more time at the office. You want to be thinking, I'm glad I did what I did, and it was very satisfying. And I'm here to say, and pretty much day to day, I'm often asked, are you retired? And I just don't like that word. And it sounds final. It seems like you're done. And so much of life is that when I'm green, I'm growing. But when I'm ripe, I'll soon be rotten. And so I tell people, actually, I'm 76 this year, and I'm having a midlife crisis. And I'm starting all over again with my encore career, and I couldn't be more excited. And that is one of the most wonderful things. Work, if you look at it, it can be some of the most powerful, invigorating, life-extending, life-enhancing things that you can do. Actually, retiring and doing nothing could be one of the most catastrophic things that you could do for your life and your heart and your soul. We should always be anxiously engaged in a good cause. And here we are in Avini, and if we're in it, we might as well work, and we might as well work effectively, and we might as well plan on succeeding. How do you do that? And historically, if you look at specifically how we work, network marketing, what are the statistics? And people say, what are the odds? What's the chance of me going diamond? And if you just look overall, what are those chances? I believe not really good if you just drift along and hope it comes. But the thing that's wonderful, if you actually study success, study specifically how you become a diamond, and do exactly the same thing, then it becomes more and more predictable, more and more a certainty. And so that's what I'd like to talk about is how do you do that? And one of the things I think is really important, and it really hit me as far as just sales in general, and people in particular, when you think about success and not success, however you want to define that, successful people do certain things a certain way. And one of the things is doing things that are productive. And it came up, this idea that studying this is that in raising kids, the question comes up, you do this, and they say, I don't want to do that. And what we've all discovered sometime, we can do things we don't want to do. And that's, I think, the big thing is successful people don't want to do the same things that unsuccessful people don't want to do, but they do it anyway. They just have that discipline. And there's a book by Jocko Willink, and it's all about that freedom and success, all of those things, it's all about discipline. And so you have to discipline. How can I get myself to do the things I know I need to do and recognize that? And I think in a real fun way to put about it is John Maxwell talks about, how do you know you're on the road to success? And he says, because it's uphill. Uphill all the way. In fact, I'm just going to read some stuff right here. It says, okay, intentional living, the uphill path to growth and significance. First off, how far can you go? I think it's exciting to be thinking, I can just keep going and going. It doesn't have to stop. No finish line. And so if you have a finish line, don't do that until you're right about ready to go. Okay, everything worthwhile is uphill. Everything. Meaningful relationships, uphill. Building a great business, uphill. Sustaining excellent health over a lifetime, uphill. Anything that is truly valuable, anything deeply meaningful requires effort. It requires ascent. Wow. And here's the truth most people miss. No one ever accidentally climbed up a hill. So if you're looking at a Sunday, there's a team that's going to win. And if you thought, how did you win? Well, I don't know. We're just on the playing field here and we scored. No, there's a lot of work involved in that. So no one ever accidentally climbed uphill. Downhill is automatic. Downhill is unplanned. Downhill is comfort, drift, and habit. But uphill, that requires an intention. Most people, now here's the problem. Most people live in uphill hopes and they have downhill habits. They hope for growth and success and fulfillment, but they live unintentionally. They don't plan their lives, they simply accept whatever shows up. Intentional living is different. It's deliberately, it's focused, and it's consistent. And over time, either way, compounds. That's the magic of life, is what you do daily compounds. It adds up or takes away. So intentional living, choose the right tools, stay focused when distractions appear. They're consistent when motivation fails, and they're persistent when the climb gets steep. So that's big stuff. Okay, how do I get myself to go uphill? How can I get myself to do maybe what I already know I need to do? In Avini, our work is adding names to a list and reaching out and contacting them, following up, and just doing that and doing that. How do I get myself to do that? One of the things I think is just really powerful is maybe we're all here together, we're going to be at Las Vegas and we're going to be all excited, and then we're going to go home and Monday morning we're all by ourselves and we're looking around and, okay, I know what I need to do. How can I just get that? And so what I think is really important is this idea, do it. I've seen people have that on their desk, and one of the things I really like is extending that. Do it now. Do it right now. Or the other way, do it right and do it right now. So that's a good thing. Just do it and don't hesitate. Don't hold back. And I want to share, this is one of my all-time favorite books, Amir Ganad. The reason I have this book is I was on an airplane and just happened to sit next to him and became his friend. And I'll see if I could get him on one of these morning Zooms. It's been a while, but oh, what a great book. But essentially, let me share an idea about this. Okay, it's now or never. Act now. As you come across various topics in this book, you might say to yourself, "No, this is interesting, and here is exactly what I'm going to do with it." You might also say, let me skip up here a little bit. Whatever you do, watch out for the conversation that goes like this. "This is interesting. I should do something with this someday." Odds are you won't. So that's just really important. Think of all the things you have been saying you are going to do someday. I don't know about you, but my list is long. Skip up here. So watch out for your internal dialogue and be intentional about the decision you make about what you are going to do with what you get and when. Take what you get out of your reading for a test drive immediately by applying it in your life. Don't wait until you have a perfect understanding or until you are sure it will work. Take the first and do that. Take it out first and perfect it later. And this is just a really important thing. If it's easier to act let me say this again. This is really good stuff. It's easier to act your way into a new way of thinking than to think your way into a new way of acting. So ready, fire, aim, I guess we could, but just do it. I guess I could say a pro tip right here. In your experience of doing this business, contacting people, when you do this enough, you'll have these wonderful things that'll happen to you. They'll say, yeah, I want to get some of that product. The thing not to do is say, here's my website and here's my link and I'm really glad you're going to order it, because that actually happens to them as well. That moment, that's the moment they should order, but that's a great idea. I think I'll try that. Later on, I'll get around to it. And so here's the pro tip. When somebody says that, say, hey, I've done this a lot of times. In fact, I got my computer open right now. If you'd like, I could just walk you through it, or I could even do it for you if you give me your contact information. And that's just such a powerful thing. You're going to get more sales rather than thinking, oh, he's going to do it. And you look on your computer a day or two later and they haven't got around to it. A week goes by and all that interest has maybe faded away and other things come along. Do it right now and help people along that way. That also regards in sponsoring people too. Just plan on helping facilitate when they say, yeah, I want to do this, let me help you. Make it as easy as possible to get product and join our team. It's a lot of fun. And don't be pushy, but just offer help. And a lot of times they'll just say, yeah, I'll do it, or I'll get around to it. You can let up at that point, of course, but so often they'll appreciate the help and you can do that. So really good stuff to do. Do it right now. Okay, here's another thing. Why do we do it? And I think this is really important, is having a life purpose. What do I really want to do with my life? And I think just in general terms, the older we get, I think we just want to feel that what we do is significant, that what we do matters, that it makes a difference. And the more we think about that, it's really just having a positive impact on the world, on other people. And so I think in terms of having a career, having work to do, some things just inherently have greater power to have a positive impact. And that's what gets me all excited about Avini at this moment, as I've experienced a miracle with these products. I've seen miracles happen with that, to the point where I believe everybody needs what we have, and the thrill that nobody knows about it. It's a fun story to learn and share, and that's what we do. And so my job every day, I just think I have an obligation to let people know about it. That my job is to get people curious enough to take a look. Their job is to decide what they want to do with that information, but everybody should be able to make an intelligent choice on whether they know about this or don't, but not just go along ignorantly with these powerful things available and missing out because they just don't know. And a lot of our job is just the thrill and fun of educating people about this. But here's a statement. This is Thomas Carlyle. The man without a purpose is like a ship without a rudder, a waif, a nothing, a nobody. Have a purpose in life, and having it, throw such strength of mind and muscle into your work as God has given you. And we do. We need a purpose. I think that's just how all of us are made. We have to have a purpose. And if we have a purpose, I just think in my mind, probably one of the most inspiring and yet horrible books is Man's Search for Meaning. There was a guy in a death camp in Auschwitz. And the thing I think was really amazing is he talked about the pain, suffering. You can go through everything if you have a sufficient purpose. If there's purpose in and suffering, or whatever it is. We have, what a title for the book, Man's Search for Meaning. We need meaning, and I think ultimately it fits in with, we've got to have a magnificent purpose, something to just really, truly be excited about. And that was the thing that was the difference between people that appeared to be physically superior as they deteriorated in those death camps versus other people that just hung on, is those people had a reason to keep going, a reason to exist. We've got it so nice right now, or we're not in places like that, and we think, oh, this is hard because I need to make some calls. That's nothing. All you have to do is have enough reasons to do it, to overcome that traction or friction of not doing it, and just to every day just think of reasons to do it. This is something right here. The what is important in our work, and we need to attend to it, but it is the why that we discover the fire, the passion and power. The why inspires our souls. The what informs, but the why transforms. That's Dieter Uchtdorf. Oh, so we got a vision. This right here has transformed a lot of lives. Now, over 20 years that this has been on the market in different forms and variations, right now it's the best. But think about that. How about a goal that we get together and multiply out, and so a point in time comes I don't think too far away. It's going to take some effort, but we can do this. What about the mighty mission of helping 1 million people experience Cell Defender? 1 million people. Imagine what that would do, the contribution to lives. We've all seen what it's done to a person as an individual, and if we get 1 million people multiplying that goodness factor, that's going to happen. I get excited about that. And what's really fun, there's a precedence. Other people have affected 1 million lives, and especially when you have something where you have word of mouth and this moves out, and if you can influence one person, you can influence two. If you can influence two, you can influence four, and you just keep doing that and teaching them how to influence people where you get the multiplying effect. Avini is all about a trinary comp plan. You find 3 really good people, teach them to find 3. 3 times 3 is 9, 3 times 9 is 27, and so forth. That could add up to 1 million. It will happen. And without you or me, I believe it'll happen. But on the other hand, it's not going to happen without me. Think about that. I think I'm the one. It's up to me. If it is to be, it's up to me. And if we get enough people all united in this vision, it just becomes more and more likely to happen at a quicker and quicker time. Isn't that exciting? Desire, Napoleon Hill says, is the starting point of everything. Desire. So if you want something bad enough, you'll surely get it. I've heard it said that if you really want something and you don't get it, you either really didn't want it or you tried to bargain over the price. And everything has a price. You have to give something. Mostly in Avini, it's maybe giving up some emotional security, like I got to call somebody and they might say no to me, and the time. But the thing that's wonderful is as you do it, you realize that you're going to make new friends, you're going to make a difference. What's the downside? And so in a way, giving up something, if you want something and don't get it, you bargained over the price. If you don't do it, there's a price to pay too. And that's the thing I really think about, is just like that idea of going uphill and being successful, going downhill. Discipline, that there's rewards in that, and undisciplined has penalties. It's easy to do. It's also easy not to do. Just to bite at a time, every day, every day. And what is the ultimate mission in your life? How might this fit into that? In broad terms, if we're all wanting to have a significant life, to make a difference, if you think about success in any way, I like to look at it pretty much involves other people. If you think about what makes you happy, what makes you successful, in most of those terms, other people are involved. And even some things like as an example, having a delicious meal. You're just tasting it and that. But if you involve someone you love and they're with you, that is, eating alone really isn't anywhere near as fun as making it an event where you're with somebody that you care about. And that goes along with everything. And that's what I love about Avini, is doing something that matters with a big team, and everybody's winning, everybody's growing, and also doing that together. There is a compounding synergy that just, you get pulled along, and we're creating momentum that builds momentum, and all of a sudden you've got a movement, and it's fun to be part of that. Right now, we're under the radar, not very many people know about it, but this is going to be big, and just thinking in the future, gee, I'm glad I was a part of that, maybe a very big part of that. Isn't it exciting? And a belief in Avini. So let's just emphasize that. Do the products work? Is there a market? How big is that? Is this a good opportunity? The products work, everybody needs them, nobody has it yet. I think it's a good opportunity, or is it a great opportunity or a fantastic opportunity? It really is all of that. It's what you make, and so it could be a good opportunity if you use it yourself and share it with enough people to pay for your own habit, or it could be a fantastic opportunity if you personally, say 10 years from now, think about it and you've touched over 1 million lives. That's very possible. And if you keep doing that and doing it, that magic of compounding is very powerful. And okay, belief and desire and then action. And then one of the things I think is really amazing, myself, I discovered this a long time ago because I've been straight commission since 1978. People work at home. Yeah, I get that. I've worked at home since 1978, and I love it. On the other hand, there's been no ceiling, but no floor either. If you're straight commission, no worky, no money, and or if you're working ineffectively, that's not going to be much. And so I've really been accustomed and learned the importance of having the proper vehicle, and so that's critical. But another thing I think is really interesting, that if you look at this idea, I was reading The Power of Positive Thinking, which is still one of my very favorite books, and it was written back in the 50s, Norman Vincent Peale, and there's a lot of wonderful things in that book, and I've also got it in my phone with his recorded voice, and I love his voice, what he talks about it. And when I read things, I've listened to him a lot of times, and so when I'm reading, I hear his voice speaking in my mind. And here's my all-time favorite part of that book, and it's so powerful, is this. And so he says, one of the most powerful concepts, one which is a sure cure for lack of confidence, is the thought that God is actually with you and helping you. This is one of the simplest teachings, that namely that Almighty God will be your companion, will stand by you, help you, and see you through. No other ideas is so powerful in developing self-confidence as the simple belief when practiced. And that's so amazing. In fact, I've got a book called, we've all got probably Think and Grow Rich. There's another book called Pray and Grow Rich. Interestingly, this guy that wrote it was actually paid by Norman Vincent Peale as a ghostwriter, and so there's a lot of similar personality in that. In fact, that's such a good thing. And I think about that idea, pray and grow rich. He talks about, is it right to pray for riches? And he says, let me ask another question. If you're a farmer, is it proper to pray for a good crop? And if you think, okay, if you're actually doing the things, cultivating and planting and doing all the right stuff, you should expect everything to work one more time. And so work, it all depended on you, but pray like it all depended on the Lord. And that's just a real powerful thing. Zig Ziglar brings that up, this idea that farmers and straight commission salespeople pray a lot. And so just to hit that, because I believe it's so important, it really is the greatest source of strength. There's another book, At Work as It Is in Heaven, and it carries that same idea. And this is a lot like, I would say, affirmation, the way it reads. It says, I am fully collaborating with God in the life He has given me. My gifts, my passions, my ambitions, my ideas, my creativity, my love, even my doubts and struggles. The ability to associate spirituality with our daily labor, to think that God actually works through you in your job. This may be as simple as being kind to the next person you speak to on the phone, or as dramatic as totally reconstructing your company around a fresh vision, one that better engages people with the good your company offers to the world. That's really good stuff. And you think in a lot of ways God is in the people business. We should be too. In fact, really, that's what business is. If you understand people, that's the key to understanding business. If there was no people, there would be no business. No matter what the business is, it's providing some type of service or product or something to serve people. And so it's all about people. And that's what I love about Avini, because we got the emphasis on the people, where the day-to-day housekeeping, or whatever you want to call the things that make a business work, inventory and receivables, payables, dealing with government agencies and all that kind of stuff that I really don't like doing. We get to have all the fun, and Avini does all the other stuff that maybe isn't so fun. But we have the most invaluable and the most powerful stuff, because no matter how wonderful these products are, if they're just sitting on the shelf, they're not going to work. And it's just real critical. And so one of the things I think is really important too, is most of this business, the mechanics is pretty straightforward, just doing it, but then our minds and our hearts, everything about that is what makes it really work in communicating with another person. And this is something I like right here. There is little difference in people, but that little difference makes a big difference. The little difference is attitude. The big difference is whether it's positive or negative. Let me tell you, positive is very attractive. And when I first met Valerie on the dance floor, I was attracted to her because I thought, oh, she's pretty. But talking to her, she just had a sunny, bright disposition. I was just attracted to her just a positive spirit. And still, I like that. She's always lifting. And you can just feel that all around you. And that's something you want to emulate. Deliberately just think positive. Always be positive. Things come in, the reality, yeah, the bad things happen and everything, but don't dwell on that. Focus on the things that you wish to attract. And that's positive stuff. What we dwell upon expands. And so if somebody says no or whatever, that's Jim Rohn says that's fascinating. He talks about, oh, that person cut me off. I'm mad. Don't be mad. That's naive. That's what traffic cutter-offer people do, is they cut people off. Don't let them make you mad. Just think, oh, fascinating. And sometimes that's harder to do, but tone it down. You don't let someone else affect how you feel. Be an actor and not a reactor. This is really wonderful stuff that you can do, especially when you're in sales. But also reciprocated. The world is like a mirror, reflecting what you do. And if your face is smiling, it smiles right back at you. And so just attitude, work on attitude. I think right along with that is the most wonderful thing is love. If you look at our life, so much of our life is who we love and who loves us. And we should love everyone. And it's one of the most wonderful things is to be loved and appreciated and just recognize other people and love them. My favorite thing is from Agbandino, and I'll just read this. I will greet this day with love in my life. Henceforth, I look on all things with love and be born again. And how will I confront each who I meet? In only one way. In silence and to myself, I will address him and say, I love you. Though spoken in silence, these words will shine in my eyes, unwrinkle my brow, bring a smile to my lips, and echo in my voice, and his heart will be opened. And if you just have that, love everyone unconditionally, not transactional love. I love you because you're an emerald in my business, or I love you because you just bought some product. I love everyone. Now, we can have unconditional love and maybe some in there. Maybe we could look at it, wow, I've got a diamond in my group or whatever, and say, oh, goodness, I really love them. But love everybody regardless. When you have kids, if they don't meet up to expectations, one of the most damaging things you could ever do is hold love out to manipulate with. They always want to always know that they're loved unconditionally. That makes them better and makes you better. And just learn to love everyone. This is something I think is really important if you think about being a leader. That's what we're looking for as leaders, and to be a leader yourself. And how do you know you're a leader? If people are following you. And that's actually inescapable when you think about it. John Maxwell says that leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. And so I think about the kids we've had and watching them grow, they copy. And that could be good or bad. And hopefully it's mostly good, and in fact, all the things that we do. But it's really wonderful to think, okay, in a company like Avini, you follow, but pretty soon doing Avini, it's all about building a team, and pretty soon you become a leader as well. And what do leaders do? They influence, and hopefully mostly good influence. And so I'm going to read something here. The essence of leadership is the enthusiastic communication of your vision and the capacity to translate that vision into reality. The emotional connection to the vision for the future. Leaders are responsible for genuinely developing and believing in a compelling vision of the future that inspires them and causes them to naturally spread enthusiasm about that future to others. A common vision. That's what we're looking for in Avini, as we're joined by a common vision. 1 million people on Cell Defender and all the rest of the products. And if we get 100,000, oh goodness, 1 million's in the bag. And if you get 1 million, there's more than 1 million people out there in the world, and we can really make a big difference out there. Just amazing. Okay, in that book, Transformational Leadership, he calls a leader a master in culture transformation. Every company has a culture. And what we want to do, just in a fundamental thing about culture, is just treat people right and let them know about what we have, but have a culture, a club that people want to join. Have Avini be a club that everybody wants to belong to because of just all the good things that happen when we're there. Okay, here's something about leadership also. Okay, Brian Tracy says that the mark of a superior thinker is the ability to clearly foresee the consequences of action and inaction while staying anchored to a long-term goal. It is the discipline to move past procrastination and act with purpose. Purposeful action taken daily ignites motivation and steadily expands your sense of what is possible. Each time you decide to act and follow through, you reinforce a powerful truth that you have control over what you do, what you think, and how you feel. So doing something strengthens your disciplined muscles, doing it. Your mind, your mental, your spirit, everything. What you do or don't do weakens or strengthens it. That you basically we're all building ourselves, one thought, one action at a time. Oh, what great stuff. Here's a thing I think is really wonderful. And what can I and only I do that, if done well, can make the biggest difference? Now, this is something only you can do. If you don't do it, it won't be done by someone else. But if you do it and do it well, it can really make a difference in your life and your career. I believe if you do it and do it well with Avini, it won't just make a difference in your life and your career, which it will, but it'll be through helping countless other people. I love this idea that any one of you, maybe you've already done this, but just beginning out, maybe you haven't got a customer yet or a distributor, maybe you're just looking at this, but if you do all of these things, there will come a time when you can look and think, I've touched 100 people, I've touched 1,000 people, and then you start losing track. And I think one of the most wonderful thrills is we've got about 2,000 recorded testimonials. They're all really wonderful, and one of the things I love is hearing live someone share a testimony. And I think, wow, that is amazing. What happened to that person? And oh goodness, who is this? Oh, I know somebody who knows somebody who shared it with that person. And so in a way, I got to be a link in the chain that led Avini to them that had that magical thing happen. And that's a wonderful feeling. But I also think, what if I had not talked to that person who in turn talked to that other person? And I love that wonderful chain reaction that you can get in Avini. And along that idea, I'm the one, if it is to be, it is up to me. Going to this book right here, let me see if I can get to that real quick. Okay, this is an interesting thing. He says, I am the one and it's not about me. He says that it sounds conflicting. I am the one and it's not about me. And it says, okay, this is the essence of servant leadership. It says, when you declare yourself the one, you don't do it because you have an illusion that you have control over everything. You're doing it because if it is to be, it is up to me. But you're embracing your responsibility of getting out there and having it. No excuses. The only thing better than being the one is recognizing at the same time that whatever happens in the process of you fulfilling your commitment, it's not about you. The recognition that it's not about you keeps you from constantly focusing on trying to protect yourself and your interests at the cost of your team and organization. If you are the one and it's all about you, you behave like a bully or a dictator. And on the other hand, if you don't think it's about you, then maybe you're a victim of circumstances. And so it's just this neat idea when you embody both parts of this seemingly paradoxical statement at the same time, you unleash a brand of empowerment in yourselves and others around you that you can move mountains. And wow, that's a cool thing. I am the one and it's not about me. I think, okay, if it is to be, it's all up to me, but don't get all cocky about that. Be a humble servant in that. But just realize, and that idea that God is with me and helping me, then you could just say, thank you. Thanks for putting me in a position. And one of the wonderful things along that idea, I think it's really important, is myself, when I came home from the doctor with that folder with bad news, I was praying. I did not want to do what the doctor said I needed to do. I thought there's got to be something else. So I was really praying a lot. And I feel that this product specifically was an answer to that. Imagine a phone call from the doctor saying, I've got some great news. There's nothing there. Less than 3 months later. Amazing. What if you did this? What if you thought, okay, I'm the one, but it's not about me. There's a lot of problems out there, and there's a lot of people that are saying their prayers. And one of the most wonderful things to be in a business where you could actually follow promptings and be the answer to someone else's prayer. That's heady stuff. That's what I love about this work, is that right there. It's just such a wonderful way to live your life, is being in dramatic service to others, giving them a gift. And if you think about it, there's a lot of people, but just here we are, still the beginning of the year. Pretty much everybody's resolutions have something to do with being healthy and wealthy. And we could have that answer. We could have both of them. That's a good thing, being healthy and wealthy and wise, because we can learn new things and keep growing. And that's another thing I love about this business, is it's often described as a business, but it's also an advanced school of higher education in learning some of the things that matter the most. Okay, what are the best things we could learn? Since our greatest happiness is other people, what if you could learn the power of communication and influence and use it in a vehicle that teaches you this? I love the great conversations that are out there and the books you can read and things you can get on YouTube, listening to really great leaders that are doing things. This guy right here, Amir Ghanad, Iran is on the news right now. He's a refugee from something like 30 years ago from Iran, and he's living the American dream, helping a lot of people in business and commerce. It's just so amazing that somebody can read a book like this, and whatever work they're in, they could apply it, because all work is people. But wow, what if you just wanted to be in a Class A, wonderful, amazing opportunity where you could just no ceiling, no limits as far as your ability to learn and grow and make a big difference. We're placed in a wonderful position, and learning, we could spend a lot of money on coaching and school and stuff like that, but we've got internal, just an amazing system where you can grow. One of the most valuable things that you can do is have a mentor. And you can spend a lot on that, having a mentor. But one of the things I love in this business is we've got a lot of mentors available. And that was my key to success. One of the greatest shortcuts is to decide you're going to be successful in this, and then seek out the people that are successful, that match your personality, your heart, and get a relationship going with them. And what's really fun is you could be thinking, oh, goodness, I want to do this, but, oh, this person, they're so busy, I don't want to bother them. Let's turn it around. Let's say you're in a business, and let's say you're moving along, and let's say you're a Ruby and doing stuff, and you get a call from somebody on your team, and they call you and say, I've hesitated calling you because I know you're really busy, but I'd need some help, or tell me about this. Those are some of the most cherished of all phone calls. Wow, somebody called me that wants to build a business and they're on my team. And so if you have an upline, you're not bothering them if you call them. And I learned that a long time ago. And in fact, one of the keys way back, this is 1990, my upline, I actually didn't trust him, my personal sponsor, or we didn't really match up personality or anything. But his sponsor was fantastic, and he was super successful. And so I just bypassed my personal sponsor and called his sponsor. I called him every day, multiple times. And we did 3 ways. I just thought, I know he's going to make a lot of money off of me. I'm going to give him the opportunity to earn it. And so not only did I call him every day, but all of my key people, I says, hey, Charles Ritchie, call him every day. He really knows how to do this. And this is invaluable. Decide you're going to do this, go to work, and then have a mentor. Now, if you call your mentor and call him every day and say, hey, I just want to chew the fat and I'm just dabbling. In fact, I haven't done anything for a couple of weeks, but I just want to talk. How's the weather at your place? That's not having a mentor. And have something to do, make the commitment, and then call them. And call them every day. If they're working, you're not wasting time, yours or theirs. You're doing something that is all about what Avini is making a difference. And leaders that are successful The reason they are is because they're doing certain things a certain way. And ultimately, what it is, they are saying the right things to the right people lots and lots of times. And that's what we have control of, is how many people are we talking to, what are we saying to them, and what kind of people are we talking to. And we can get better at that and talk to everybody. But if you can find really good people, people that are hungry, people that need the product, people that can afford the product, all of those factors come into it. That's the best way to do it, and then get really good at it. And the other thing along that line is, right at first, it might not be so good. We all have to start, but if you got a mentor to guide you and you're doing 3 ways and all of that sort of stuff, that helps overcome that. You find somebody that likes you and will talk with you, and then get your mentor, your upline, to do 3 ways. You're hearing the right things to say, you're hearing it really well, and it works. Okay, so I've been in the business a long time, but I still do 3 ways, and it works really good. If you're not doing 3 ways, I've never met anybody successful that doesn't do 3 ways and that doesn't have a mentor and column. So do all of that. Just decide you're going to do it. Go for it. Think big, act big, pray big, and you'll be big. So let's go do this, and let's launch a leadership revolution. The timing is right. Don't let it fade. Do it now. Do it right now. Let's do it. Okay. Love you all, and have a wonderful, super good day. This is commencing the new you. You're going to do it.